Hello everyone and welcome to the summer season. This is the Saturday tier, the Great British Grand Prix. We're currently in qualifying, one-shot qualifying for the sprint race, which is a 6-lap race instead of a 9-lap race. And we've got another one-shot qualifying for the main race with an 18-lap race instead of 26, as we are doing a 35% distance race this evening. We've got Zingy currently lining up on pole position with Frantic and Nifo switching places, as Nifo has managed to get the better run out of Maggots and Beckett's, and they currently sit themselves in P1. Will Zingy be able to make the final sector tidy to be able to bring it to that top spot once again? They missed out on pole twice yesterday. They're not going to be able to get it. They will get it on the final corner, but once again they've hit the curve and they're going to miss out by two hundredths of a second. Absolutely incredible stuff there. Nifo takes pole position for the sprint race, and that is going to set an interesting one for the main race. We'll see how this one goes. We don't know what the weather will be yet. We'll find out in a few moments' time. That's the race director, and we'll be back for the sprint race. We'll see you in a bit. Ready, hold, go! Who's going to get it into turn one? We're away. Zingy on the inside line, Nifo on the outside. Nifo gets in front. Zingy slots in behind. And in the purple is Frantic, of course, looking to see if they can get a good result, as they were looking to try and do yesterday. That's on the inside. Who is that? That's Peanuts right there with its Burkle trying to get a move done, but not quite able to get it done on the exit. And now they've got Becken in the McLaren livery once again trying to get a better run. They're using the energy, and they're going to get this move a great opportunity, but a little bit of a defensive throw there from Burkle means that they have to back off. That was an interesting one indeed. Peanuts sits in P4. They've got Frantic, who they just had a quick look up the inside of, as Zingy is just holding at the moment, and that is Frantic looking so close, going side by side into Cop's corner just for a moment and then backs off before it gets too close. All cleanly through the first few corners. Lap 1 out of 6. It's a shorter race this time around, so it is absolute blast straight through the race. You don't really have many opportunities to save ERS, use ERS. You just got to try and use it at a certain point, basically. Frantic to the outside line has a look on Zingy, but not quite in a position to make a move right now. They're going to have to sit and wait behind, but still, Zingy goes defensive, and they hold on for now. No DRS will be available just yet. It will be available in a few corners time, though. That is for sure. We're going to get the details up on your screen. As you can see, everyone's on that soft tyre. Going defensive is Zingy into turn 1, which is an interesting throw. And then Frantic trying to have another look again. Around the outside as Zingy hits the inside curve, makes a mistake. There's contact between the two, and that is unfortunately Frantic going to lose out a lot there. And unfortunately, he's going to have to slot in behind Peanuts. Peanuts is going to be the one up next, looking to see if they can try and go for the move on Zingy. They'll go to the inside line, and they are going to get the job done. It looks like it. I say that, they're not. Zingy manages to carry it through. Now Peanuts is on the outside. Peanuts is going to look to try and get the better exit, but they back off off and let Zingy take the racing line for now. Using the energy, though, they are preparing to put that pressure on through Cop's corner, but they're actually side by side with Frantic, who's making the move on the inside at Cop's corner, and I think they might have the job done. They don't. Peanuts has managed to hold it round the outside, which is absolutely phenomenal. They didn't get scared off the road, and they were able to carry on their merry ways. Zingy taking a very, very different line there on the exit of Magus and Beckett, which really helps him, but ERS is still going to be used with DRS here from Peanuts, which is brilliant from him, on swooping through, taking the tighter line to cut the door, and that is awesome stuff there from Peanuts. Zingy's going to come back again, as he'll have to go defensive as the Swedish driver, and Zingy is going to stick his nose in and come out in front just about as they push each other to the limit, and side by side through the final corner, it's Frantic and Peanuts, but once again Frantic having to sit behind, and these guys are just waiting at the moment. It's wide into turn 3, and he's going to understeer. That's very unfortunate right there. Frantic was just trying to read the situation, didn't quite read it too well, and that was going to happen. Peanuts gets in front momentarily. DRS is going to be thrown to Zingy's car, and Peanuts is going to once again probably lose that position, I'd say, into turn 6. Peanuts isn't going to have a chance of carrying that one around the outside, and they're going to have to wait. Well, lap 3 out of 6. Frantic's got a second opportunity, getting very, very close to the back of Peanuts right there, but not close enough to make a move. And it was also close, but well held there from Zingy with the contact. Also well held from Frantic, really, to keep it in a straight line. It was just such a tricky situation to read what's going on with 3 cars being in the mix. But now another opportunity will be coming available, and Peanuts once again goes to the outside line and tries to take it around in Stowe. Zingy's having the inside line. As we go through the offboard camera, you can see Peanuts has the inside line, and they're going to look to try and take the racing line, but Zingy once again breaks as late as they possibly dare, and they're going to come through. Frantic further ahead than they were last time around when they went through that corner side by side, but not enough. Peanuts is going to go to the inside line at the first corner, and they just about make it through. Here comes Becken. Becken's going to try and send it here on Frantic. They've had enough. They said, you know what, I'm coming in now. They almost had a look at Peanuts. Peanuts leaves the door a little bit open and actually ends up losing the position to Frantic, does Becken, by doing that. DRS is once again available to Peanuts to catch up to Zingy, but Zingy had a bit of breathing room right there. That is absolutely incredible stuff. And Nifo currently a 4.5 second gap. They've got a very nice advantage indeed. Zingy's still holding on with the other guys behind them. But going off the circuit, there was Peanuts, so they've got to be very careful that they don't do that too many times. Becken had that moment up in front, of course, of Frantic. Almost had a look at getting to P3, but just dropped off in the end. Wasn't able to make that move. Frantic's looking to have a go at making an overtake here on Peanuts. Peanuts doesn't want to give it up. It's lap 4 to 6, and it's just going to have to stay as it is. They really don't want to let that one through, and they will continue on their merry ways. Zingy's got a lot of energy to use, so when we get to the final lap, they're currently on the penultimate lap of the Grand Prix. When we get to the final lap, they'll be able to use a lot of energy to try and defend their position and hold on to that P2. Whether it will be the case or not, whether DRS and 2 cars attacking will be enough, I'm not sure. Peanuts is going to send it very hard to the inside line. Frantic's going to try and get a switchback here on Peanuts if they can in the meantime, as there's a kind of a little bit of a complex battle in between a battle already, as these two are trying to get into the second part of the train, or second in the train, as Frantic is going to send it to the inside line, almost making contact with Zingy as they're sending it so hard as much as they can. Switcheroo looking here on Peanuts. They'd have to use energy and ERS if they wanted to get that job done, but they're not. Peanuts is going to just about hold on. Peanuts is focusing on staying in that P3 position, but are they going to be in a position to actually overtake Zingy? I don't quite know. So far, you would say, okay, yeah, sure, they might do. But Zingy has been able to hold on for now quite well, and they've got a lot of energy in that car, as we know. Peanuts ERS is being used, DRS is available. Will they be catching? Burkle makes a mistake, unfortunately, to the inside line. Peanuts goes, and they'll be significantly ahead this time around. They've got an awkward line. Zingy's not going to get a switch from this one. We've got Frantic right behind as well, who doesn't go for the move. And now on lap 5 out of 6, Peanuts is ahead. Zingy's going to get DRS, and Peanuts has a little bit too of an early move. Shouldn't have gone for it there. Should have gone for it on the back straight. It's not going to matter. Nifo currently leads the way as we go through the final lap of the Grand Prix, lap of the sprint race. Peanuts still leads the way. That's Becken going for the move on Frantic after all of this. I do not believe it. They've jumped into it. Zingy already goes for the lead with the DRS. Peanuts is going to use the energy to try and still hold on, which is really strange. And that is Frantic just about staying in front of Becken. Becken is giving it the absolute best, but not able to quite find their way through just yet, but giving it a very good shot. That is for sure. Frantic's got a lot of energy in that car, so I think they can possibly get through here on Peanuts, but they've used it in the wrong position. They ended up using some to just intimidate Peanuts into cops, which didn't work quite so well. Lots of energy already been used by Zingy and Peanuts. Peanuts has not been dropped. Peanuts has not been dropped, so maybe the DRS will be good enough right here, but a phenomenal few corners through Magnus and Beckett's right there from Zingy is going to prevent Peanuts from getting any look at making a move. It is going to be Frantic who makes that move here on Peanuts in the end. Absolutely phenomenal stuff. Nifo with a perfect drive take the win. With a perfect drive, takes the win in Great Britain for the sprint race in the Saturday tier. Zingy will take the P2, and that is, I think it's Frantic. They just about get there by 0.028 seconds. Peanuts will miss out and take 4th place. Becken in P5, and then we will have Burkle at the back of the pack. We've got a main race on its way with qualifying in between. A one-shot qualifying will help decide that grid. Everyone gets a second opportunity to try and find their way through, and we have had a dry sprint race as well, so everybody's going to be warmed up quite nicely. I'm sure about that. That is the results. We'll go through the race director just quickly, and then we will see the results right there. That is Nifo taking the win, Zingy in P2, then Frantic in P3, Peanuts, Becken and Burkle. We'll be back for the main race qualifying. We'll see you in a few moments' time. Alright, everyone's just getting sorted, and we'll be with you for the main qualifying and main race very shortly. We're back for main qualifying here. The one shot continues. Peanuts currently sits in P2 on the exit. Zingy gets the run. And Peanuts once again is now right there looking to fight for pole position. Niffer a little bit further behind this man, but very close, that is for sure. Now, Frantic gets their way up the order as well. Peanuts is currently on pole position, and this is absolutely awesome. What a turnaround it would be. Zingy's incredibly strong through Maggots and Beckett's. On the exit, though, it's Niffo, who goes from P4 to P1 all of a sudden. Absolutely astonishing. Frantic trying to make a bit of a comeback to see if they can get a pole position this evening. On the exit of Stowe, it's still Pro Niffo into the final chicane. We will see how this goes. Is it going to be tidy from the Dutchman? It will, but it will go to the other Dutchman. Niffo will take it. Zingy in P2, and Frantic takes that P3 in the end. And that was a brilliant margin there that Niffo managed to have. Awesome stuff. That is Niffo on pole position by 3/10, Zingy P2. Then we've got Frantic, followed by Peanuts, Becker, and Burkle. As you can see that Frantic and Peanuts very close to one another as well as Zingy. All the margins are incredibly tight. We go to the race. We'll see you in a bit. Ready, hold, go! Who's going to get it into the first corner? Niffo gets away well. Zingy again to the inside line and will slot in. I say that, they're side by side and Zingy takes the lead of the Grand Prix instead. Frantic Sing right behind, looking to take that away immediately. Niffo breaks late around the outside. Now they have the inside line, but they're going to have to try and fend off from Frantic. It's all of a sudden free wide and Zingy weirdly slows down, brings Frantic into it, and Frantic's going to look at making the move ahead of Niffo to the inside line using the energy. Is it going to be possible? It's not. Niffo breaks late but leaves the space. Frantic is coming round the outside. If they can get the traction on this tyre, that would be perfect for them. It is a soft and a medium. It's softs for Frantic, mediums for Niffo. Will they get it into Cop's corner? I think it's going to be Niffo with the advantage on the inside line, and they're going to have to hold on for now. But that is brilliant. A brilliant switch back here though from Frantic, and on into Maggots and Beckett's. They go side by side. It's so close indeed. Niffo comes out in front just about with the confidence. Absolutely awesome stuff between both of these guys. You can see the tyres on your screen right there, and those soft tyres are going to be absolutely lethal for the first few moments, but Zingy's still going to put the pressure on despite being on the slower tyre, and around the outside they will go, trying to make it work. Not quite so easy. Now to the inside line. Frantic swoops through and gets the job done. Zingy's going to have to sit behind, and that soft tyre on Frantic again with the softer compound as they used in Canada is going to help them at this race start, but Zingy uses the energy and dives to the inside line. Doesn't work too much. DRS will be available here for Frantic as we're now on lap 2. They've got Peanuts behind them, who is putting them under massive pressure. All of a sudden a big bit of kind of instability there from Zingy. That meant that Peanuts was right there and putting that pressure on as well. DRS is available for Frantic. The other Dutchman still holds the lead, and it's not like it's looking too easy for Frantic on that softer tyre either. It is pretty tight. Frantic's got to be careful of how they play this. They've got to be very strategic. Currently, they are doing enough. They will have the advantage in Maggots and Beckett's, although tyres around this circuit are incredibly deadly, and they do have to be very, very careful with how everything goes. But for now, they've got the DRS, and they might have another opportunity at saving here, or going for DRS, but I'm not sure. That's a big mistake there from the race winner yesterday evening, and the sprint race winner, and the pole sitter. But for now, they will just hold on. Zingy sits in P3 as Frantic catches up to the race leader. Peanuts dropping back a little bit, still in DRS at the moment with their fellow countrymen right behind them. Will they be able to stay in this battle for too much longer? They are on the same tyre as everyone except from Frantic and Burkle. They should be absolutely fine. Frantic, evidently, with that tyre, goes for a fastest lap. Zingy's catching up, goes to the outside line, but Frantic's still going to hold on for now, with that inside line being more beneficial. Zingy's going to send it up on the inside line. He knows he can get DRS for a second time if he gets the job done. Didn't quite get it done. Frantic doesn't seem to be affected. ERS, will it be used? It's not really. It doesn't need to be used. He's not close enough to really make a move, so you might as well just save and sit behind Niffo at the moment. Lovely stuff indeed, as Niffo continues to hold their own. Frantic waiting behind. With that tyre, they want to make it work. Will they have the advantage later on? They'll be on, obviously, a harder tyre, but it might deal with the temperatures a little bit. It might have a less of a drop-off. In theory, it should be the faster strategy that Niffo, Zingy, Peanuts and Becken are on. But it still could work very nicely if it is played out to perfection for Frantic and Burkle. Burkle, of course, having a few issues. Frantic, not so much. Frantic goes for the move around the outside, and they're going to try and swoop it. Is it going to be possible? All the way to track limits. Now the inside line is available to them. They break early to leave a lot of space, and that's going to just allow Niffo to go straight through. Zingy's trying to get involved, but he's never going to get there on the exit right there. Would they use energy? They are going to use energy into the first corner and get the move done that way instead. They're going to have to leave the room, as that is Frantic going through. It's a bit of a wheel bang between the two. They go hard into turn 3, side by side with one another. DRS will go to both of them, so it really doesn't matter if they finish or if they come out ahead or behind one another. It's to the inside line for Frantic at turn 5. You don't see often drivers going side by side unless it's the opening lap, and into 6 they continue. The inside line becomes the outside for Frantic. Frantic's going to try and swoop around, take a very different line. They'll straighten up the car on the traction. Will they get it? They will not, and Zingy's going to have it momentarily, but no, they will. They will come back through. Frantic is just ahead, but again, Zingy using the energy and gets the job done. And now Frantic sits in P3 after a long old battle. These guys continue, and Nifo would have been able to save a lot of energy. I say that, they may have been able to save or just relax a little bit more as those two were fighting behind. That being said, those two were fighting but using a lot of energy to keep that straight line speed up. So, of course, Nifo would have to react to that in order to maintain their lead, because if the cars ahead are pushing a lot to go a lot quicker, then all of a sudden you have to go ahead. I say cars ahead. The cars behind are battling. You then have to push as well with them in order to stay in front. Now, lap 5 out of 18. We still got a long way to go in this Grand Prix, but the start phase is pretty much done. Now, when would we see a pit stop happen? I don't quite know. Maybe within the next 3 laps. It could be very possible. Whether we're on 50% distance tyre wear model, or if it is a tyre wear model of its own. I think it is a tyre wear model of its own, so we could see within the next 3 or 4 laps a pit stop come into play here for Frantic. Now, they're really bleeding it on the way onto the inside line. They've really played a risk right there to try and stick their nose in. They've managed to come out cleanly from it, but they're really trying to put that pressure on, as you can see, with this tyre. Now, the disadvantage of pitting early at the circuit like this is that you do lose out on a DRS train. The benefit right now that they have is that they can stay in the train despite having worse tyres as the race goes on and not lose too much time, and then later might be alright. But would they want to go for an earlier pit stop? Now, these guys could be fighting quite hard. We don't quite know. They've been fighting fairly hard all evening, but right now they're kind of settling in a rhythm. If they do that and Frantic's pitted and they settle in that rhythm and stay in that rhythm, Frantic's got no chance. If Frantic goes into the pit lane and Peanuts and Becken and Zingy and Nifo all start fighting, then it could be very different. I don't know what happened there. All of a sudden Zingy makes a mistake and Frantic goes into the back of him on the exit of the final corner. Just about keeping it in a straight line though. They continue on their merry way. Strategy call is coming imminently. Would they go for a more standard pit stop? I don't quite know. We'll find out in a few moments time. But now, okay, I'll say about 2 to 3 laps, we could see Frantic come into the pit lane. We could even see people go to the soft tyre, for that matter. Would that be wise? I don't think so. I think we'll see maybe a soft tyre come in on lap 10, and that is Peanuts going off the circuit, as unfortunately missing out. They aren't able to get the move here on Frantic. They stay ahead somehow of Becken, which is absolutely phenomenal right there for them. These guys have got a lot of energy. Frantic's pushing with this tyre. Everyone else, they are just relaxing at the moment, and that is the advantage when you have a wall of tyre runners that are the same as you. You're kind of working as one, whereas the opposite tyre has to work against you, whether that to be hold position or to try and attack because everybody else is trying to defend because you're on a faster tyre. Either way, it's incredibly difficult, and that's what you're seeing right here. Frantic just can't find a way through, but they're also trying to make sure that they don't lose out to the cars behind. Now, they've got to focus on either pitting early and putting in some fast laps and maybe coming out ahead, or they can try and stay a little bit longer, not too long, just a little bit longer, so they don't lose this performance, of course, that they would have lost if they weren't in DRS. And then later on, when everybody else starts to lose their performance on the softer compound tyre, Frantic will be good to go flat out all the way to the end. This circuit is pretty difficult on tyre wear after all. Not as difficult as a circuit like Hungary, but it is very, very difficult, that's for sure. Now, Frantic has a quick look to the inside to spot their braking point and just let the cars in front know they're there. Peanuts is close behind, but not too close. Unfortunately, Beckham's had an issue, and they have lost out a little bit here, so that is a 2.5 second that's only going to get bigger with the DRS train being a thing at the moment, which is a hell of a shame. Once again, showing great opportunities or great chances of pace as we've seen in the previous seasons, but they're just struggling a little bit here and there. And I mean, I guess that's just because we haven't seen them race as much. That is probably all there is to it. They're a very good driver. Frantic and Zingy almost looking as if they're one car, because they're virtually the same colour, following each other so closely, just waiting for something to happen. And they continue. Frantic not going into the pit lane just yet. Now, I would expect them to go into the pit lane within the next 2 laps. Maybe even 1 lap. We could see Frantic going to the pit lane this lap, then maybe Zingy and Niffer would follow in immediately the lap after. And then that could trigger, possibly, the top 2 to go into the pit lane a little bit sooner than they would have liked. So, realistically, out of any opportunity you can go for, I think Frantic has to go for a pit stop on this lap. If they don't go for a pit stop, then they're trying to hold on to the other guys when they've got their faster tyres, and that's really not going to be easy. It's not going to be impossible, but that peak performance, well, it won't be there. It won't be there. That is an interesting situation. I don't know if that was a mistake or if Niffer just let Zingy go through. But anyway, Zingy goes through, almost loses the car, and ends up slowing down Niffer instead. And Frantic catches up massively, along with Peanuts, who sat right behind on the back of this. So Zingy goes to try and gain a bit of pace, but it's not going to be the case anyway. ERS is being used right here from Frantic, who wants to go for the move, but he's going to be boxed in. He has nowhere to go. He just has to sit there and wait, and they go through Stowe Corner, and it's not going to be a pit stop available right here for Frantic. They do dive into the pit lane as expected, and now everybody else is going to have to react. That's exactly what I was expecting, and that is what Frantic will be doing, and hoping that everybody else can get tricked into reacting to what this brings. Now, will they do so, or will they try and race their own race? Realistically, you want to try and race your own race, because then your tyres aren't going to be dead later. But if these guys do have to pit a little bit earlier, then yeah, we'll see. That being said, this is pretty much the halfway mark, so it doesn't really make that much of a difference. And the softs should be good to go to the end of the Grand Prix. Frantic could have possibly pushed a little bit earlier on that pit stop, but it's done now, and they carry on and just try and see if they can get a bit of a pace advantage maybe on this outlap. And they've not got much energy to use, but they've got the tyres to use, of course, as well. Now, Zingy, Nifo, they've got, well, I say clean air. As teammates, they've got clean air because they are 2 teammates racing for Racing Balls in the Saturday tier. And that is, of course, the DRS train being nicely used. Peanuts is trying their best to hold on. They are just about using a lot of energy right here to make sure that they maintain that gap. And this will help them stay in front of Frantic with that DRS, of course. Now, it's very expected to see these guys go into the pit lane, and they will do so. It's very close from Zingy as they bring it to the absolute limit to the pit lane entry. No one will speed. Peanuts will not speed in Silverstone, which is awesome to see in the pit lane. Well done, Peanuts. And now they're sitting in a comfortable P3. They will have caught up a little bit, possibly under braking right there in the pit lane. Onto the soft tyre. Frantic comes round Stowe Corner with Becken closely behind on that soft tyre. These guys trying their absolute best. I think they might be able to come out in front. They might. It's going to be close. They need to put their foot down and go, 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 go. They will. It's going to be super tight. Here comes Frantic. They're going to pass. Peanuts, they're not going to pass Nifo. They're still going to come out behind Nifo. After all of that, they will hold on to the DRS. Becken jumps his countryman, and they are on 2-lap older tyres. That's a big lag spike there. All of a sudden, Frantic lags back and is not going to be in the battle after all, and that's absolutely tragic. Why? Why did that have to happen? The race, all of a sudden for Frantic, is completely compromised. And now, Niffo and Zingy lead by 1.6 seconds on a beneficial tyre. And it's just going to be virtually impossible for Frantic to be able to catch up at that rate. And they've got Becken, who is hot on their heels, ready to pounce at any overtaking opportunity, at any weakness. And, well, I say a weakness, it's not really a weakness, it's just a medium tyre that's going to be slower. Yeah, Frantic going lower on the gears right there, maybe than a lot of people, trying to get the better exits. I don't know if that's just a tyre difference, but Becken on the DRS with the ERS, they're going to try and get the job done with the move. Peanuts is going to try and make it a double overtake to the inside line here on Becken. Becken, will they get the job done? No, they'll stay where they are after all of that. They made one move and they lost it immediately to another driver. Absolutely perfect there from Peanuts, and they sit once again in P3, but this time 2.4 seconds away from the other cars. Frantic is very close to the back of Becken, ready to go for that move again in a moment's notice. Lap 11 out of 18, and we are well past the halfway mark of this race. This is the halfway mark of the summer season, the Great British Grand Prix. The outside line is Frantic, looking to put the pressure on, but not really able to make a move at the moment, just hoping that the cars ahead use their tyres a little bit more. And Becken, they might struggle. They will be absolutely fine to go to the end, but they might struggle towards the end of the race with tyre wear, whereas Peanuts shouldn't. They should be absolutely fine. But will that medium tyre be better? I think it might be. I think it might be. ERS is still a struggle for these guys. Peanuts a little bit more to hand, but not that much at all. The top two switch positions as they lead the Grand Prix. Niffo and Zingy not got any pressure at the moment. Peanuts, however, got two cars behind, and although they've got a friend sitting in P4, they are racers first. They will race each other very, very hard, as we've seen. They don't care if they know each other. They will just do what they need to do to get the better result. And right now, to get the better result is to break away, and Peanuts is doing a great job of that, and Frantic can't really do much about it with the DRS trap that they've got going. They have to sit behind and they're stuck. I say that, their tyres aren't exactly amazing, so they're probably not really just waiting around, they're just really struggling to make any progress, especially with their tyre advantage not being in their hands at the moment. But according to Becken's tyre, in a couple of laps' time, that could definitely change. According to Peanuts' tyre, it could change in a few laps after that as well. Lap 12 out of 18, we've not got a long way to go in this Grand Prix. Niffo leads the way, Zingy sitting closely in P2, then we got a 4-second gap between them and this man. Peanuts 4.3 seconds, and then a 0.2 second gap. Behind him is Becken, with Frantic following behind. Burkle having a few issues, unfortunately, but it's the new game, and we've still got a long way to go. It is their first season in the site. It is the summer season, so I'm sure they'll be absolutely fine just getting this experience in. It's not what you want to see, but it's how it goes sometimes, and 35 seconds behind instead of at Canada being a whole lap behind. They should be happy with that one. They should be proud. Frantic looking to go for the move here on Becken. So close behind the gearbox of the McLaren livery car. Not able to do anything about it. They want to go for a move on Peanuts. Becken wants to go for a move on Peanuts, and they're trying to hold on from Frantic, but also wait behind Peanuts so they don't have to make that overtake until the final lap and get that DRS. That's the situation that they're in. Peanuts leads the way and will continue to do so. They move off the bumps on the outside of the circuit as they go down the hangar straight, and then go back to the racing line as they get into turn 6. They continue through turn 7, and a great exit here for Frantic as they're going to take the inside line, the tighter line. They're going to use the energy. Frantic didn't make a mistake, whereas Becken did. You could see he wobbled on the car a little bit, and that is a position gained. Now Becken just needs to make sure that they relax. They'll get another opportunity to make this. They just got to probably make it sooner rather than later, otherwise their tyres could be in a bad situation at the moment. DRS being used freely right here for Frantic. ERS, not so much, because there's not really that much available. So they're not going to be making a move this lap, but they will be very close and ready to go at some point, and this could change very drastically, very, very quickly. We're coming to the closing stages of the Grand Prix, lap 14 out of 18. That's 5 laps remaining of the Grand Prix now, as you can see on your screen. And Frantic with the better tyres, Becken with the slowly becoming worse tyres, is expected to have an issue, but they can still give a very good fight. Frantic is not expected to make that move on Peanuts, but definitely have the advantage. So right now, although it's for P3 and not for P1, which they were hoping to fight for Frantic earlier on, it is going to be a battle for the lead of the train, and they should have the advantage come the final 2 laps of the Grand Prix. That being said, the tyres shouldn't be that bad. Another 2 laps maybe for the top 3, maybe another 1, maybe 2 laps at most, but then that would make it 4 laps for the cars in front, of course. It might be okay. It also really depends on how you are at your tyre wear as well, because wheel drivers are a lot easier to save tyres, whereas controller users not so much. And as you can see right here, Zingy, not so easy to save tyres around a circuit like this, or Canada or Hungary. So Frantic, Peanuts and Becken all in the same situation. They're going to have a very interesting one. But what I'm saying is at least the hardware won't be a factor that will decide anything for their race. Lap 15 out of 18 is started. The final 4 laps of the Grand Prix remains for this battle right here. We will go on to the lead battle later on when everything starts to kick off, of course, but this is currently the one with the most intensity. We've got Becken sitting behind and getting so close to Peanuts. It's Frantic, who almost look like they're going to go for a move. They back off for the minute. No energy is going to be deployed here by Becken. They're not going to try and go for that move. Now, Frantic saved a lot of energy, and they're just happy that Becken didn't decide to push for that. Becken, well, that was their opportunity. They could have gone for that move right there, and that would have possibly been game over for Frantic, because all of a sudden Becken would have had that and there would have been P2 in the train, and despite having that tyre disadvantage, it might maybe just be enough with a bit of consistency to be able to hold on ahead of the car behind, because a DRS train around Silverstone is virtually impossible to compete with. DRS now for Frantic against Peanuts. They're catching as we get to the end of the straight, but once again, no need to make an overtake at the moment. Becken goes off the circuit. Berkel's the only one with a time penalty at the moment, but Becken makes a mistake. I was going to say they might get another one, but instead it's just another mistake. Instead of going off the circuit, it's having a half spin, and it's having a 2-second gap between you and the cars in front. What a shame to see that one end that way. It would have been much better to see it on the tyre strategy and on track, of course, but in the end, it's not going to make much of a difference. Would this change up? Will he find a new lease of life in these tyres, a bit more determination to catch up to these cars? I don't quite know, but Peanuts now is on their own, and Frantic has got free roam. 1.8 seconds. It's not going to be too much to play with, but these guys do now have some space to fight quite hard. I say that, fighting hard with yourself on the throttle is not the way to go about it. Fighting hard with the other car is what you want to be doing. Frantic is very close to the limit right there. That you can see the tyres are getting so tricky to deal with, and if that is what the medium tyre currently is experiencing, then oh my, what is that soft tyre experiencing? 1.5 seconds. Becken continues to catch and a very, very good rate right now. Nifo goes for the move here on Zingy. They're side by side into the final sector, into the final chicane. They continue. Zingy's going to back off. Is he going to look for the switchback maneuver into the final 2 corners? They will get the job done. I say that. They'll have to use energy into the first corner if they want to, but I think they're going to slot in behind instead, and they'll be on their merry way. That was another 3 second there for Berkel, unfortunately. But back to this battle. Lap 17 out of 18. The top two will start fighting. So will Peanuts and Frantic, but Beckon's not that far away. On track, it could be very interesting. Going down the DRS straight here for Zingy and Nifo. Nothing will change. It will change as he sends it to the inside line. Into 6 through 7. Nifo has the advantage. Will it be the traction down for Zingy on the controller? No, it will not. The ERS is not going to be used. They're not going to go for the move just about. They will hold on. No, they will use the energy and go to the outside line at Cop's Corner. They're going to try and swoop it through. They're not going to let it go. And that is a brilliant move right there for Zingy. Awesome stuff. As you see further behind, we've got Peanuts and Frantic. They haven't switched up, but I'm sure we'll get a bit of a switcheroo in a few moments' time. And now Nifo sits behind in the DRS train. Are they going to wait behind, or are they going to make that move? They are going to make the move. They're going to make the move. Now Zingy is going to get DRS for the final lap of the Grand Prix. They are going to get a brilliant run into the final chicane, but it would be silly to go for that move. We see Frantic not opt to go for the overtake, and that was very sensible. I fully expect that one. Beckon not able to gain any more time and instead loses time now. We get to the final lap of the Grand Prix for both battles. This is for P1, the other one's for P3. Nifo leads the way of the British Grand Prix. Zingy is going to get a double opportunity on DRS to make this move, and I'm very much expecting them to make this overtake on the Hangar Straight. This is the Wellington Straight. They're using the energy still to try and be nice and close and go for the battle. They send it into 6 again. They cut the corner a little bit there to avoid contact with that teammate, just taking extra precautions than they needed to beforehand. They're a bit squirmy on the exit right there, but both drivers, with all the ERS to use in the world, Peanuts and Frantic are not going to be switching. They're going to be keeping it civil until that final straight, where it all kick off. It's once again side by side with Nifo and Zingy in Cop's Corner, but on the exit, Nifo will be ahead. Maggots and Beckett's comes their way. DRS available for Zingy, ERS available for Zingy, and it's going to be a pretty easy swoop, I'm sure. They should be able to get the move done. A lot of energy here used for Nifo, sending it into Stowe Corner. Zingy can't find the grip on the front end. They'd have to go into the braking zone for the final chicane if they want to get the job done, and it's looking like it will be a switchback attempt. No, it will be a swoop around the outside. Zingy wins the British Grand Prix. Nifo P2, then Frantic gets the job done ahead of Peanuts. I'm so sorry that we didn't get to see that on the screen. Peanuts makes a mistake in the end, and Frantic will get a comfortable P3. Beckham will take that P5, and then Burkle will finish the lap to take another P6, and will take some solid points to the championship right there. Wow, what a race. Zingy takes the win in the Saturday tier, and it was the championship of the two that the gap was bigger. They've closed the gap up a little bit now. It extended by 1 point in the sprint. It closed by 4 in the main race. So 3 points he's closed to Nifo right now overall in the Saturday tier. They've still got a long way to go if they want to try and close that gap and take the championship. But we'll see how that goes. Nifo continues to lead the drivers and constructors championship, but this man is your top step podium sitter. I'm all over the place. It's very hot. It is very hot. Alright. That's Zingy taking the win, and that is a fastest lap as well for their maximum points. Zingy takes the win, Nifo P2, then we've got Frantic, Peanuts, Beckon, and Burke on P6. We've got the race director just in case, and then we will go through the pit stop section. We'll be back for the post-race interviews. We'll see you in a bit. Hello everyone, welcome to the post-race interviews of the Great British Grand Prix. That was a pretty crazy one and a very good race to finish off before the mid-season break. Frantic, we go with you once again in the main race, starting on the alternate tyre. Do you think that was a good call? Do you think you could have done a bit more there?
Yeah, well, to describe this race in a single sentence, it was a disaster. So, yeah, I mean, coming into this race, I knew what was going to happen at the front. I think everyone knew what was going to happen. So I chose softs on purpose because I wanted to get ahead in lap 1, which didn't work out, as we saw. But, I mean, there were some nice battles. I really enjoyed that. But when I saw everyone starting on the mediums behind me, I basically knew it was over. I was kind of hoping that the guys behind me would also go on the softs to attack the front row, but it was a huge gamble and it didn't pay off. So, I mean, I still got the podium. I think it's 3 in a row now, so that's huge for me. But I mean, I was kind of hoping to do more than what I did, but I mean, overall, happy with the result, I guess.
Nice one. It was a very good performance and we could see it, despite it not being quite what you wanted. But yeah, really well done today. It's just a shame that your ego with the soft tyres got in the way of your race result. Guys, that's a joke. Please don't take that seriously. Anyway, Belgium, do you think you like that circuit more than Silverstone? I know we already asked you yesterday, but just tell us again.
I mean, like I said yesterday, I mean, I'm not good at Spa. Like every race I did there was, I don't know, it was just terrible. So we'll see what happens.
So it means that you're going to have a really good race next time.
Which means that I'm going to get my 4th podium in a row.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Frantic, and we'll see you next time. Well done today.
Oh, thank you.
We move on to Peanuts. Peanuts, that was tough. That was tough, and it looked like you were going to have a very good chance at getting that podium at the end, but a little bit of a mistake on the final lap. Well, I say that. You did actually get overtaken on DRS, right?
Yeah, I did. I mean, I had no shot of even keeping that position. I had like 100 ERS going into the last lap, but it doesn't matter because this game is great.
It is. Now, do you think you did everything you could to get the best position possible, strategy-wise? Do you think you did the right call there?
Well, strategy-wise, I think I did the right call. I mean, if we're talking the sprint, that one was straightforward. Everybody went soft. I can't believe I let Frantic beat me twice in a row. It felt a little wrong there. I should have put up more of a fight, but I knew that in the race there was no shot. Like, I mean, I had like 100 ERS, but the slipstream on Silverstone in this game right at this moment is absolutely crazy, and I didn't even put up a fight. I mean, I wasn't even gonna send it into the last corner, but I kind of think a mixture of that I outbraked myself and Frantic broke a little early. I just rammed straight into him.
Oh, I see.
So I'm sorry about that one, but I didn't have a chance. I had a chance in the sprint, but there was no shot. Like I knew what exactly Frantic was doing. I mean, he wasn't even attacking me. I wasn't even using ERS to stay in front. I mean, it was I knew that he was going to pounce the last lap. So
fair enough. Well, you did give us a very, very good fight to watch on screen. So really well done with that. Belgium, you said yesterday that you had maybe a little bit of a bad time. A bad incident with a certain driver last time you raced there. Do you think you can have a good race there next time?
I mean, the thing is, I mean, a good race in Belgium, because we're so few people, is like beating Frantic at this point. I mean, I know that Nifojan and Zingy are out of my league. Zingy will probably smurf again because it's fun. It was fun being side by side, but it was like I knew I was never in this race today. Like, I mean, in both sprint and the actual race. I mean, even that kept DRS in the first stint. Like I wasn't. I knew I was not challenging for the win.
Yeah, it makes sense. You still did a very good job, though. I don't think you could take anything away from that. So
Not
you
really.
do deserve a good result. Well done, and thank you very much for some great racing on the screen today. And we'll see you next time. Well done.
Cheers.
And we move on to Nifo. Nifo, I believe, was that sprint race pole and the main race pole, then the sprint race win. Not quite able to get there in the main race, though. Can you take us through it?
I mean, I felt like, it was a fun event. I mean, I got pulled twice. I think, again, same as yesterday, a bit more with other people messing up than might have been good, but I'll take it. Sprint race, well, I think I already felt like Ziggy was going to help me a little bit due to circumstances. I didn't expect to help me that much. Which I didn't want him to, but I was like, oh, don't do it. But obviously, I'm happy he did because it made my life very easy. But yeah, so thanks to Ziggy, but he really didn't need to do that. Otherwise, I think it would have been like a crazy battle for P1, but it was quite straightforward then. Main race, I think I urged him to race me normally, which he did. I think we worked together nice to hold up Frantic on the soft tires, and then during the pit stop something went wrong for all the other guys behind us, and we had like a 4-second gap. Like 3 seconds when we came out the pit. So then we worked together for a little bit. Lap 16, we decided to battle like like men. No sitting behind for the final lap, just sending it everywhere, trying to get ahead. And it was a lot of fun. I almost had it, and then I hit the inside curb on the final corner, which. Like the second to last corner, which ruined my exit, but it was a fun race, fun battles, so yeah, I'm happy.
You're happy, yeah. Well, it's great points for the championship. You continue to lead both now as you go to the midpoint of the season. Heading to Belgium, do you think you can continue that lead?
Hopefully, but as I said yesterday, there's pure pace matters a bit much there. A bit more there. So it'll be difficult, but I'll definitely try.
Fair enough. Thank you very much, Nifo. Really well done today. Very well deserved for the good results, and we'll see you next time. Well done.
Thank you.
That's the championship leader. We move on to the race winner for the main race. Zingy, that was an interesting one, of course. It was, well, quite fun, I guess, from your side. You enjoyed it. And then later on, when everything kind of split up after the pit stops, you got the opportunity to kind of whisk away with your teammate and then have a race on the last few laps.
Yeah, of course. It was the sprint race. I knew that the soft tires were going to be quite annoying to deal with, so I thought I might as well help Nifo as the tire temps and the tire wear would be excessive. And then during the main race, obviously, we had that battle at the start with Frantic and Peanuts and that. And then, obviously, the pit stops came around, and for some reason, we were ahead by like 1.5 seconds, something like that. So, I don't know what happened, but we just managed to pull away, and then, obviously, we had that battle the last few laps. We kind of had a truce to say, if we are in the lead by quite a far margin, the last 3 laps, we kind of just go for it. Doesn't really care who wins, and yeah, basically, that's what happened, and it was good fun, good race, and happy I came out on top.
With that win, now we go to the halfway mark. Do you think you're still going to try and have a nice friendly battle, or are you going to go for the win of the championship later on in the other half of the season?
I think I've got more of a chance in the Saturday tier than the Friday tier, so I'll try my best, and we'll see where we go on from there. And I think Niff's obviously a great driver, so it'll be a bit difficult. Kind of reminds me of the 2022 days when we were sweating out at the front, but it's good to see him back, and obviously I want to be better than him, so I'll try my best to win, but that's not always going to be the case.
Fair enough. Thank you very much. Well said. Really well done today. Congratulations, Zingy, and we'll see you next time. Well, wait, did I even ask about Belgium?
No, you didn't.
Belgium? do you think you can do all that?
Belgium's a tricky one. I think I said this yesterday. Me and Niffle were to break away from the pack like we done in today's race. It'll just be the same as we just had there. And I think Belgium, we've got much more of an opportunity to do so, considering how long the circuit is. And how consistent me and Ethel can be when we are locked in, which is not very often.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And we'll see you next time. Really well done today. And congratulations. I have not forgotten a final question. Thank you. And that's been it for the post-race interviews. Thank you very much for watching. It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for your patience with the commentary. We will see you in 2 weeks' time for the Belgian Grand Prix. We'll see you on Tuesday for some practice lobbies. Have a good one and good night.